Far away from the island of Samsoy, where dead berserkers and a cursed sword lay in wait, Swafa, the daughter of Jarl Bjarmar, gave birth to a daughter, a beautiful girl named Hervor. Hervor grew to be quite unlike all the other girls at the Jarl's court, however, as she paid little attention to her skills in needlework or embroidery, but rather she much preferred to train with a bow, a shield, and a sword. She proved herself in combat alongside boys and young men, and she was exceptionally strong, though her talents often caused more harm than good, as she would often go into the wilderness where she would fight and rob people like a Viking warrior. Her grandfather disapproved of Hervor's obsession with violence, though he knew that her combative nature was not her fault. It was something that came from within her, something that she had inherited from her father's bloodline. One evening, a slave who hated Hervor hissed maliciously at her, "You only wish to do evil, Hervor, and evil is to be expected from you. The Jarl forbids everyone to speak to you of your true parentage because he is ashamed that you should know the fact that your father was the lowest of slaves." Hervor, feeling humiliated and utterly enraged, went straight to the Jarl and demanded the truth. "Tell me truly, who is my father? I had always guessed he was some great hero, but now I hear he was a slave." The Jarl sighed, knowing that he could not keep this dark secret for any longer. "A lie has been told to you. Your father was no slave. He was the famous berserker Angantyr. Armed with the legendary sword Tyrfing, he and his brothers won many victories and fed the wolf and the raven a banquet of enemies on the battlefield. They now lie in a mound on Samsoy with all the treasures they owned in life." Hervor finally understood who she was. She knew where her innate skill at arms and her lust for battle came from. She told her grandfather, "I resolve to live as a Viking warrior and seek out my slain family. Great riches must be buried with them, riches that are mine by right as the last of their bloodline." And so, equipped and dressed as a warrior, she left to begin her new life as a Viking, joining a crew of warriors with whom she raided and battled, pillaging the shores of every land they encountered. Hervor soon proved herself to be the greatest warrior amongst them and rose up to become their chief. One day, she chose to sail her longship towards Samsoy in the sea east of Jutland. Samsoy is a strange land of ill repute, said to be haunted by abominations considered to be unnatural, where Odin himself once lived and practiced all sorts of twisted, sinister spells. Her crew of battle-hardened Vikings complained, "Madness has seized you. This land is blighted by horror and the shadow of living death, more horrible in clear daylight than other lands are on dark, moonless nights." The Vikings refused to follow her to the shore in fear of the creatures, living and dead, which stalked the island. So Hervor set off alone on her quest across the island's stony beaches, quiet, lonely lagoons, and empty, haunted heaths. At sunset, she found a lone shepherd who was shocked to see a lone adventurer. "Turn back to your ship or find shelter," he urged her. "Night falls soon, and this will be a dangerous place for the living." But she ignored his pathetic attempts to scare her off and replied, "I seek the grave of 12 berserkers, 12 brothers. I have business to attend to with my father." But he spluttered, "You are a fool to continue on this journey. Fires are moving beneath the earth. Mounds of the dead are opening to spill flames across fields and fenland. I will not help you in this insanity." The craven shepherd fled, but Hervor saw the flames he had described, which she approached without fear or trepidation, drifting through billowing grave fire as if it were mist. She approached the open mound and looked up at the starless sky above her before entering, travelling into deep, devouring darkness beneath the earth. What little light there was came from otherworldly flames, which conjured images to the edge of Hervor's vision, of forgotten treasures and echoes of 12 dead men. And, with a sky-shattering shout, she commanded, "Wake up, Angantyr. It is Hervor, daughter of Swaffer, your only child. I am here to claim Tyrfing, your keen-edged blade, my inheritance by rights. I awaken you from beneath tree roots with helmet, shield, and graven spear." Her father then slowly turned and opened his dead eyes. His cold lips parted, and he answered, "Does someone live amongst the dead? What madness has brought you here to wake dead men, daughter? I do not have the sword you seek. It was stolen by those who slew me. Leave this place and let us rest." But she wouldn't leave. She stood steadfast as winter and scoffed. "You are a liar, father. I know that the sword is here. You have no use for it. You've been dead for years. Give it to me." And he groaned. "You welcome your evil doom. Hell's gate is lifted, and the mound and the island now fill with fire. Save yourself from hellish pain whilst you can. Return to your ship and never come back." The tomb filled with raging fire from the deepest reaches of the earth, and she laughed. "No burning light in the darkness nor funeral fire can scare me, father. This woman's heart will never tremble. Give me Tyrfing." He lamented, "You do not know what you are asking. The sword was cursed long ago. If you wield it, you will cause nothing but evil. Trust me, daughter, when I tell you that Tyrfing shall be the end and ruin of your family, a curse upon your children and your children's children." But she bluntly declared, "I don't care. I've not yet met these children and grandchildren you speak of. If the sword is destined to harm them, that's their business, a matter between them and the Norns." And finally, the undead Angantyr relented. "Fine, take the cursed sword, courageous daughter. I suppose neither of us, living or dead, can alter the course of destiny." He gave her the blade and described the nature of the enchantments and curses that lay upon it. Hervor gladly received her inheritance, the legacy of the father she never knew, and proclaimed, "This sword is a greater prize to me than the whole land of Norway. Thank you, father, and farewell. Please rest peacefully here." Hervor left the tomb, armed with the cursed sword Tyrfing. Her crew of Vikings had fled in terror from the grave flames and thunderstorms, so she journeyed on her own and made her way to the court of King Guthmund of Glasisvelir. Her reputation as a warrior, along with her fantastic sword, ensured that she received a good welcome from the king, who offered her a place in his hall. King Guthmund enjoyed games of strategy, though one particular day he was struggling to win a game of Hnefatafl. He asked, "Who here in my hall has a sharp enough mind, a tactical way of thinking, that they will save me from defeat in this game?" Hervor offered her assistance and left her belongings, including her sword, at her place on the benches. With her advice and keen strategies, the king won his game and was most pleased that she had come to him. However, whilst Hervor helped the king, one of his warriors spied the glinting golden scabbard amongst her possessions. Curiosity got the better of him, and he drew the blade Tyrfing, completely oblivious to the curses that lay upon it. Hervor saw the shining light of the blade like a beam of treacherous sunlight in the dark hall, and she leapt across the tables before the foolish man could do harm with it. She struck a blow against the warrior and grabbed Tyrfing from his clutches. But the blade must always consume a human life once it has been drawn, and can never return to its scabbard without fresh blood, which led Hervor to feel an uncomfortable compulsion to slay the fool who had dared touch the sword. Before she understood what had happened, she was suddenly aware that the man's headless corpse now lay on the floor before her, whilst the blade dripped with his blood. The king and his men were shocked and confused, which gave her just enough time to grab her possessions and run. She was forced to return to the life of a Viking outlaw, though eventually she returned to the court of her grandfather, satisfied that she had proven herself a worthy heir of her father's legacy. She stored away the cursed sword, somewhere safe and secret, as she was still disturbed by the way the sword had made her kill that foolish warrior. However, the long wait in the tomb of Angantyr had taught the sword patience, and it knew that another champion would soon emerge to claim mastery of its dark power.